The World Health Organization says 1 in 3 women will be victims of violence. Advocates raise awareness of this issue by highlighting the importance of self-defense. Author and self-defense advocate Ellen Snortland is here to talk about how she spreads the word of courage to women. Well, Ellen, thank you so much for being on the show today.
You're very welcome.
Well, after being a TV personality and reporter, why did you decide to make this your life's work?
Because of the level of ignorance about women defending themselves. We would not be having this conversation if we were talking about dogs. We don't go, oh, that's very unladylike of my dog to defend herself. It's not a gendered issue, okay? But I realized after I had a brush with violence that I was completely ignorant. Not one person had ever talked to me about what to consider if I ever encountered a violent person. I thought, isn't that odd? That is so strange. I'm well read, I'm well educated, I come from a loving family, and I've flown ultra-craft aircraft. I've rappelled off mountains. I've done lots of things, but not once did one person say, here are some things about defending yourself, and I thought that was very strange.
Was there ever a experience yourself that made you really want to take action?
Yes. This is what prompted my writing Beauty Bites Beast, is that I came home late one night, and as I crossed the threshold, a man in a ski mask was coming up the basement stairs, and he held up a knife like this and was going to plunge it into me.
Oh, goodness.
And I froze, which is everybody's greatest fear, by the way, that they won't be able to take any action at all. And then a little voice in me said, scream, and I did. I screamed so loudly, the man dropped the knife and grabbed his ears and ran like heck. So that's what prompted me to write the book.
Well, congratulations on your self-defense. What is the premise of your book?
The premise of my book is that, first of all, there are a lot of barriers to women learning how to defend themselves. And after I took a self-defense class that completely changed my life, all the benefits that came from it that I had not even considered. And I didn't realize how a lot of women walk around in the world just hoping nothing will happen, but haven't taken any kind of lessons on what to do in case. It would be like putting a bunch of people in water and saying, okay, do the best you can without any swimming lessons, which is, like, to me, crazy. And then I found out that there are a lot of people all over the world that give self-defense classes, but they don't get any mainstream attention. And I thought that is really weird. There are people who teach all sorts of different forms of self-defense, and I thought, you know what? The world probably doesn't need one more self-defense instructor, but they could use a big mouth like me. So I'm going to write a book because it's easier to get a book around than it is to get a bunch of lessons around. So I'm really a spokesperson, even though people didn't elect me to be a spokesperson, but I'm a spokesperson for a lot of different types of self-defense, not only impact, which you have on campus here.
Well, the World Health Organization says 1 in 3 females will be victims of violence. What is your reaction to those odds?
It's disgusting. It impacts the planet. It makes a difference that women are afraid of half of the population, even needlessly. It's not all the men that are out there being violent, all right? But you can't tell by looking at a man whether he is violent or not. You know, the violent men don't have V branded on their forehead, right? So it impacts the world. If a woman in a developing country, for instance, is afraid to go to a community meeting because her husband's going to beat her up for it, she's not going to participate in that community meeting, and that means we lose her experience and we lose her drive to have the world be better. So that's on an international level. But there are a lot of women who we are missing from the public discourse because of fear. And one of the benefits of learning how to defend yourself is that you feel more like participating in the world. And we need more participation from women, not less.
Well, as you were saying before about your involvement in the self-defense training called Impact, tell me, what are some of the challenges on trying to raise awareness on this issue?
People don't want to think about it. They don't want to confront their own fear. They don't want to think about their loved one, their daughter, their mother, their sister, having to deal with violence. All right? So there's a lot of denial about it. Now, as a teacher in Los Angeles, we notice that there's an uptick in the registrations when there's a violent crime that's on the media. Okay, so then a lot of people go, oh, it might happen to me. But for the most part, people just think, well, I have a dog, I have pepper spray, I have my boyfriend, my husband, but I don't have my husband with me right now, do I? No, and you don't either. You know, so it's unrealistic. And the thing is that the only person who is always there to defend you is you. Okay.
Tell me, what is it like being a confidant to so many of these females and hearing their stories?
It's strengthening to me. It fuels my resolve to get this education to as many people as possible, because you scratch the surface, and a lot of women that we know have never talked about it, but they were assaulted as early as 7 years old. I mean, I know women who are hiding the fact that they were brutally assaulted by often a cousin that was older, or they are hiding a trauma.
Well, quickly tell me, what is the reward in your job?
I get to save lives. I get emails from people saying, I read your book, and you know, the next week I had to use something I read about and it saved my life. That will keep me going forever.
Well, I really admire all your work that you've done with Impact and through also your book, Beauty Beats Beast, or Beauty Bites Beast, excuse me. But thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.